I'm excited to introduce these three 20-minute speakers this morning. Our first speaker is kind of proof positive that it doesn't matter what age you are, whether you're 18 or 69 or 70 or 80. If we come in here and we suit up and show up and we show a bunch of willingness and have an open-mindedness and to realize that I can't do this by myself. I need the help. I proved beyond a reasonable doubt I couldn't do this sober thing and living thing on my own. If I could have, if I could have fixed myself by myself, I would have done it long before I got here. So that proves to me I can't do it by myself. So this young man suited up, showed up with a bunch of willingness and a bunch of energy to go do this thing, and he's a living proof that this thing works no matter what age you are. So with that, I'm going to give you Griffin W. Come on up, Griffin.
Hey guys, Griffin Williams, alcoholic addict. Bill Barnes saved my life. I didn't think I'd get emotional up here, but a lot of nervousness leads to emotion sometimes for me. I've tried everything to get sober. I've tried every outlet, and nothing worked. The only thing that worked for me was doing the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous and becoming willing enough to take suggestions, because my best thinking landed me in a lot of bad places. So, I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict, and I was born that way. My dad's an alcoholic, his dad's an alcoholic, his dad's an alcoholic, the line just keeps going. It's a genetic disease from what I've been told. So I grew up in an alcoholic family. I started sneaking drinks from my dad's liquor when I was probably 7 or 8 years old, just sitting there drinking his adult drinks. Because they were adult beverages. He called them his adult drink. And I wanted to be an adult. I wanted to grow up, so I'd just sit there and take little sips of them when he wasn't paying attention. And when he caught me, I would fake spit it out and be like, ew, I thought it was my Sprite or something, you know? And yeah, he caught me a couple times. But he went off to his first rehab when I was 12 or 11 or something like that. And then alcohol was out of the picture. So I had to find something new. So I transferred over to, outside issues, AA meeting, at a very early age. Started smoking some weed. So my dad was out of the picture for about 6 years of my life. Lots of change. Parents got divorced. Just a weird time for me. And it was really when I was starting to really use drugs and alcohol as an outlet to make myself feel different, because I didn't know how to properly feel. So I'm an alcoholic. I know I keep saying that, but sometimes I feel like I've never shared my story before, and I feel like I have to sit up here and convince you guys that I'm an alcoholic, but hopefully something I say convinces you, but I just know I am. I've smashed the idea that I could drink or drug normally. It's not an option for me. I'm either all in on recovery or I'm all in on drinking and drugging. There's no in between for me. So my mom moved to this house, and this is really where my drug and alcohol addiction really picked up, was when my mom moved to this house that had a little garage back house. So I had my own little house to myself as a freshman in high school, drinking and drugging away, bong by the bedside table kind of deal at 15 years old. I had a fake ID at like 13. You know, I was going out to bars as a freshman in high school. Like, it's just not normal stuff. Normal people don't do that. It's just funny to think about. I mean, those were the good times, though, but they quickly turned bad. So I went off to college. You know, I went in a fraternity at Alabama, and roll tide. And yeah, so I went off to the fraternity, and in my mind, you know, the big book says I had arrived. You know, in my mind, I was like, I'm here, I'm ready. Like, this is what I was born for. I was born for fraternity and partying, and this is all I've ever known. So I had arrived. That arrival came to a halt quick. I got arrested the first day of college for selling weed in my dorm room. Roll Tide, yeah. So, yeah, I was arrested first day. I thought I was invincible before that, but turns out I'm not. That started the recovery journey. I didn't want to be sober. I was put on probation. And that's really where I saw how bad it was. You know, I spent a month sober, couldn't stay sober. You know, I tried everything there was. Like, I will drink and do drugs no matter what. Like, nothing comes in the way of that besides a higher power and the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. Like, I'm prone to drink. Everything leads me back to a drink and drugs. So yeah, it was just a revolving door of different probations. Probation that should have lasted 3 months ended up lasting 1.5 years because I just couldn't stay sober. I tried everything there was with my own devices, you know, not AA, nothing like that. So I eventually, you know, I put on a lot of weight. I was in a deep depression. It was a rough time. You know, almost worse than my worst using days. You know, an alcoholic and an addict without any crutch. It was a bad place to be. But yeah, I eventually got off probation, went back out for about 4 months, and then crossed that line that I said I was never going to cross, and started doing some things that I said I was never going to do. And that landed me in my first rehab. So, go off to rehab. My dad's an addict. He went to like, you know, I don't know, 10 different rehabs. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, it's over for me. My run's over. I can't put my mom and my sister through what he did, you know? So, you know, I tried honestly to get sober. I did everything that I thought I needed to do. So I went to rehab. I moved out to a sober living in Montana to get away. I started going to AA meetings regularly. I got a sponsor, and then I hit the 4th step. And I was like, I'm done now. I'm not doing any more work. I'm not writing an inventory. Hell no. So I didn't finish the steps, and I stopped going to meetings. And I drank. It's like so simply put in front of me. Hey, go to meetings, do the steps, continue to do this thing daily. It's a daily reprieve. Just do it daily, and you'll stay sober, and like live a good life. And I saw all of that for a glimpse there when I was doing it, and I stopped because life came back, and I was like, I'm done with it. I'm not going to finish the steps. So I went back out because I'm prone to drink, and there's 2 solutions to my alcoholism. It's the spiritual steps in the program of AA. That's one solution, and then there's feeding it with alcoholism and drugs. Like, there's no in between for me. I can sit there miserable and sober, quote unquote, but that's not much better than anything else. I'm still living in my character defects, hurting other people around me when I'm in that state of mind. So yeah, I relapse. My dad drives out to Montana because I somehow got him on the phone in my blackoutness. He comes and picks me up. We drive back to Atlanta, and that's where this go-round started. I got connected into some amazing groups. Some guys that, like, truly saved my life. I didn't know how bad it got. I didn't know how bad I really was until I got sober enough to see. When you're living in a fraternity house and your fraternity friends are saying, hey, you need to look at yourself. What you're doing is not right. Like, that's a wake-up call, man. Like, come on. I'm not normal. I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict, and I'm happy to be one. So I started working the steps, and Bill got me working the steps quick. I had that pocket of willingness that I had the first time I started working the steps, and I let it slip away, but this time I was not going to. I completely surrendered. I'd completely taken that first step, and I admitted to my innermost self that I was an alcoholic and an addict, and that's really what got me over the hump of being able to work the steps. So I worked the steps quickly and efficiently. I think I finished them in 2 or 3 months. Hard work, non-stop recovery into sober living, just all in on recovery. That's all my focus was, and it's still my number one focus today, because if I put anything else in front of recovery, I'm doomed. I need to remember to put my sobriety first. So I worked the steps, and things started happening. Like, great things started happening. I started being able to sit in a room by myself without music or any other noise and be content. Just little gifts like that I didn't know were possible. I didn't think I could ever reach that point, because I spent 2 years sober, quote unquote, clean. I don't know what you call it, but with all these things going on in my head, and I was just not properly healing my alcoholism. So once I started, and Bill says the medicine, right? Yeah, like, I have this disease, an alcoholism, and I've been feeding it with the wrong medicine my whole life, with alcohol and drugs. And the right medicine is the Alcoholics Anonymous and the steps. And that made so much sense to me. I was like, wow, like, that's so right. I did the steps. I got a home group in AA and CA. And I just went to work and really just stayed open-minded, surrendered, became completely willing to do whatever anyone told me. I call 3 guys a day. I pray every morning and every night. I read the daily ponderables every morning. There's certain things that I can't not do every day. And through calling the 3 guys, which I really struggled with at the beginning, I've formed like these relationships with these guys that I would never think I'd be friends with, And now I call them and we talk about real stuff, real life shit. And it just helps so much. Yeah. So the steps have given me so much. I've started a career this time. I've lost 120 pounds since getting sober. these are all material things, you know. I started a job, lost the weight, went back to school, you know, other things, I don't know. Good things happen, right? When you're doing good things happen. And that's all the material stuff that comes with doing good acts, I guess you could say. And then these other things like the serenity and just the contentness and all these little gifts that we get, like I remember Ricky last year was talking about taking that first solid shit in like 5 years, and I was like, that's so relatable. Oh my God. Like, oh my God, I can't remember the last time, and I sent one of my sponsees that speaker tape, and he listened to it, and he was like, that's like the one thing he got out of it, is the main thing he got out of it was taking a solid poop for the first time in like 5 years, and I was like, wow, like that's just something that normal people don't have to deal with. Normal people take solid poops all the time, you know? And, so yeah, there's just so many like little gifts that keep coming. And, I mean, I don't really know what else to say. This is very, very short. I got 5 minutes left, so I'm going to give the rest of the guys some time. I'm really honored to be asked to do this. I signed my name down to speak at a meeting, like not thinking I would get picked at all. But of course, like one of my good friends in my home group is on the committee, and he was like, "Oh, I'm picking him," and he like shot me a text like, "Yeah, you're speaking," and I was like, "Oh, damn." But I'm serious. Seriously, this is like such a spiritual experience. This whole rock, like. I love this thing. Like coming out here, a bunch, like 400 guys getting together, all with a common purpose and a common goal to stay sober and help the next alcoholic, right? I mean, it's powerful. It's powerful when you're sitting around a room, like saying the Lord's Prayer with 400 other guys. You can feel it everywhere you go, you know? You feel it in the cafeteria in the morning. You feel it everywhere. It's something that I didn't think I could feel, you know what I mean? I didn't think I would have a relationship with a higher power. I didn't come here for that. I came here to get sober, right? And now I have a relationship with a God that I don't understand at all. And I don't even know what he looks like, what goes on, what his intentions are for me, but I know I pray. And I know I'm trying to connect to it, and it helps so much. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. I'm going to wrap it before I mess something up. But thanks for letting me share.
Thanks, Griffin. That was excellent.